The Boycott, Divestment and Sanction campaign, or as it's better known, the BDS campaign, has been in the media a lot recently. I'm talking today to Dr. David Cumin of the Israel Institute. David, what are the objectives of the BDS campaign?
Well, the objective of BDS is the destruction of Israel. And that's no exaggeration. One of the core demands of BDS is that approximately 7 million Arab Palestinians should be immediately allowed into Israel, a country that has a population of only 8 million, including 1 million Arabs existing. So explicitly, BDS wants Jews to be a minority in their ancient homeland. And that's what the leaders of the campaign also say. The founder of BDS, Omar Barghouti, has said, definitely, most definitely we oppose a Jewish state in any part of Palestine. And he was referring to 1948 British Mandate Palestine, the land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. John Spritzler, a pro-BDS author, has said, I think the BDS movement will gain strength from forthrightly explaining why Israel has no right to exist. And he's written that BDS's stated goals are, quote, logically imply the end of Israel as a Jewish state. Here in New Zealand, Roger Fowler of Kia Ora Gaza has likened Israel to Islamic State and expressed support for a one-state solution where Jews would be a minority in yet another Arab state. Justine Sachs, the young lady who co-wrote a letter pressuring Lord to cancel her Tel Aviv show, tweeted that we have to, quote, push back against the two-state nonsense, and I'm quite literally a socialist. I hope to see borders and all nation-states abolished. And John Minto, an activist of many years, has suggested the internationally favoured two-state solution with a Jewish state and a Palestinian state existing side by side would, quote, formalise apartheid and, quote, cement in place racism and inequality. It's quotes like those that have led Norman Finkelstein, a prominent Jewish critic of Israel, to say that he loathes the disingenuousness of BDS. They don't want Israel to exist. They are a cult. When BDS spread lies, they draw a false equivalence between Israel and apartheid South Africa or Nazi Germany when they abuse the words apartheid, genocide, and ethnic cleansing. In reality, 20% of Israel's population are Arabs with full civil and religious rights. The third largest political party in Israel is an Arab party with representation in parliament. And Arabs can be found at all levels of society, including Supreme Court judges. The situation of Palestinians in the territories, Judea, Samaria, is slightly different. Due to violence and the threat of terrorist activity, Israel has been forced to impose some restrictions of movement and travel. BDS activists claim that the security fence creates a situation of apartheid. However, the fence does not create separation based on ethnicity or religion. It's meant only to prevent terrorists from entering Israel. And it's been effective. A year after the fence was built, there was a 30% reduction in the number of terrorist attacks, and the number of Israelis killed was reduced by 90%. Approximately 98% of Palestinians in the territories are governed by the rules of the Palestinian Authority, which do not permit freedom of speech, religion, assembly, or other rights taken for granted by us and guaranteed in Israel. BDS activists don't talk about this as they reserve their ire only for Israel. Further, Israel allows Palestinians to work in Israel, and more than 100,000 Palestinians work in Israel every single day. Another 25,000 work in the Jewish settlements, which are supposedly an obstacle to peace, when in fact the Palestinians' earnings and benefits working in Israel are far superior to what they receive from Palestinian employers. If Israel has carried out genocide, it's done a very bad job. The Palestinian population has grown more than 100% since 1970. And the population growth in the Gaza Strip has grown nearly threefold since 1990. The Palestinians themselves expect the population to double over the next 2 decades. If this was genocide, those numbers should be going the other way. As for ethnic cleansing, this is a false interpretation of what was a defensive war in which Israel was attacked on all sides by the surrounding Arab nations in 1948. While Arab refugees were created, there were also Jewish refugees expelled from Arab lands who were all absorbed by the nascent Jewish state. Over 10 million people were made refugees around the world during the period of the Second World War and shortly afterwards. but only the Palestinians continue to claim their refugee status.
Okay, and so in your view, why is BDS so dangerous?
The BDS campaign provides a fertile seabed for anti-Semitic hatred. We saw this recently when Lorde was pressured by BDS campaigners to cancel her Tel Aviv show. Those who defended Israel were subject to vile anti-Semitic abuse. BDS activists frequently employ language, narratives, and tactics to demonize the world's one Jewish state. Those same tactics have traditionally been used to demonize the Jewish people. In Germany, cities including Munich, Berlin, and Frankfurt have banned using public spaces and municipal funds for BDS, citing the discriminatory and racist nature of the campaign. Uwe Becker, deputy mayor of Frankfurt, stated that BDS uses the language, quote, that Nazis once used, and that it is deeply anti-Semitic. 24 states in the United States have now passed anti-BDS laws over concerns about discrimination. Hillary Clinton has also explicitly condemned BDS in a letter, and Barack Obama, before he left office, approved anti-BDS provisions and key objectives in trade talks with the EU. In France, courts have found BDS activists guilty on several occasions of, quote, provoking discrimination, hatred, or violence towards people on the basis of nationality. The anti-Semitic nature of BDS is what makes it so dangerous, and it was commented on by former Spanish Prime Minister Jose Maria Aznar. He said, quote, I think BDS is an unfair, discriminatory movement based on a moral double standard that is, in the final analysis, anti-Semitic. In reality, what BDS wants is to make life in Israel intolerable so the Jewish nation will not be able to have a normal existence in its state. BDS does not want to change the government's policy. It wants to empty the country of Jews.